Um, I knew that in order for kids to produce quality science fair projects, that they needed to start with learning how to do basic scientific background research connected to the theory of their experiment. So that's one thing I noticed was missing. The other thing I noticed was missing their ability to know all of the scientific terminology that was connected to their projects. The kids were brilliant and their experiments were great, but they were missing some of those technical terms that will allow them to get to compete in higher level competitions. Um, and then finally, just their comfort level in talking about their science and experimentation to the different people who would come through the science fairs, not only the judges, but the random people they had to talk. And so I wanted it very important for high school students to learn how to communicate STEM to various audience. And so hence the journal club, wanting to do all of those things, getting them to learn how to do scholarly research, which they get a chance to um, meet with a science librarian who teaches them where to find science research. They get to read journals in various STEM topics and get comfortable reading and discussing STEM topics. They get an opportunity to learn how to talk science to the general public, is where the developing the podcast episode comes in, because as a scientist, and Dr. Williams, who I introduced in a few, knows that there are some scientists that can only explain their science to other scientists. And I think it's important that our next generation of STEM professionals are able to communicate their science to the general public. And so I am going to, I think they're on here, but I want to thank and introduce program co-director Dr. John Williams of Albany State. He's developed the curriculum the past 2 years, and this year he's enhanced it to add a couple of things, including like the Cornell note taking, um, to teach the students transferable skills that help them in college. We have Jamia Relevant, I think she's on, our instructor, who is the person that spent the majority of the time with the students, giving them the skills, having the discussions for them to analyze their, learn how to discuss, excuse me, their journal articles. We had a few guest lecturers throughout the program who were researchers that shared their journal articles sometimes with the students discussed, and who's not on the phone because of scheduling conflict. Dr. Zakia Watley, who is a STEM communicator and podcast, and guided the students through developing their podcast episodes, which we'll see a snippet of it, and it'll be on our podcast channel. Well, I'll email you when it comes out, but we have a podcast channel, SEM Explained, on Spotify, where all the cohorts podcast, excuse me, my allergies are bothering me. I'm trying not to sneeze. Where all the podcast episodes go and where these cohorts will go. And so, Jermia, are you, well, the kids call her Miss Mia. Are you on the call to just talk a few minutes about the experience that the kids had? And then I'll share the video that you shared with me.
Yes, ma'am, I am here. Sorry.
Okay.
You're ready for me?
Yes.
Okay. So good evening, everyone. My name is Jermia. The students call me Mia. This program has really kind of helped me kind of with my public speaking skills personally, but I've had a pleasure to learn a little bit about each and every student and their each individual way, with me facilitating these journal sessions. They're very intelligent. I can tell you that now. They're very intelligent. I enjoy learning from them as well as letting them learn a little bit from me, as we get familiarized with the different STEM topics, as well as learning from our guest lecturers. And this actual this year, they were kind of able to interact a little bit more with our guest speakers, which is great for me because I know how it feels when you're in high school and trying to figure out what you want to do. And our guest speakers have really helped this year with our cohort. They gave them resources as far as websites, even like internships and like job fairs or like science fairs. So it kind of really helped them see a lot of what each individual was doing at that point in time and how they help this generation and on down. Um, I really have enjoyed this cohort. And I thank you all for joining us today as well. Um, all I can say is you have a lot of how can I say young young scientists, like you said, young scientists, young architects, and they just need a glim of light. And that's where this program comes in and kind of help them shine and get a little bit brighter. So I thank you all for allowing me to be the facilitator again this year. And I look forward to seeing these videos and hearing a little bit from the others today. Thank you.
Dr. Williams, can you describe the curriculum a little bit?
Absolutely. So for this year, what we wanted to do is we wanted to give students a broad array of STEM fields where they would be able to engage with experts from all of these different areas to be able to ask some really pertinent questions about the kind of work that they do, as well as how this could relate to what they're looking to do in the future. And so we've had a physicist, we've had someone to talk about forensic science and biochemistry. We've had folks, or we've had journals about computer science, all of these different areas that fall under STEM. But additionally, we wanted to add some transferable skills. And for the note-taking piece, one of the very first lessons that we did at the very beginning, and I will send some information with the students to be able to carry with them after this is done to continue using it, was to use artificial intelligence platforms to do note-taking, such as Google LM. Artificial intelligence is a technology that is in the news heavily now, and many people are scared of it, primarily because they don't understand the power of it, but they also don't understand where we are in terms of its integration. And so, one of the things I wanted to get students familiar with was how to use tools like Google LM Notebook and a couple of others to be able to organize their notes, break down materials that are heavy concepts, and be able to really use that material and that understanding to drive their thinking forward, so that you don't spend so much time getting bogged down in the organization piece, and you can use more of that brain power towards actually accomplishing higher level thinking, which our students, particularly in this group, our students have been able to do magnificently. So that was the core design of the program, and of the curriculum, and I think these students have done a fantastic job in engaging it.
Thank you, Dr. Williams. So I am going to play a snippet of a video that Miss Mia shared with me that the students recorded during their podcast episode, podcast recording. So, let me just- Okay, give me 1 second. It is not cooperating with me. Okay. I will come back to that. I'm going to go ahead and let Dr. Williams do his keynote speech, and then I'll figure out this tech thing.
All right. So, before we begin, I just want to tell you all that I'm coming to you live from Puerto Rico. We're down here on a study away trip with my students, but there was nothing more important, even in a tropical paradise, than me being here tonight. And so I'm here because I really want to celebrate this program and the awesome work that our students are able to do and that have been able to do over the last couple of months. So, good evening. First, I want to give honor to the Most High for providing us with the space and opportunity to connect these young minds, especially, well, some are younger than others, of course, not as young as me, but not as old as me, but these young minds connecting throughout this entire process. The journey from the start of this process till now has been nothing short of amazing, and I've been blessed to have been a small part of this process. So I want to thank Takiwa for allowing me the chance to work with this initiative for the past 2 years. It's brought me a lot of joy. I also want to thank Jermia, who was my former student, but is also now my colleague, for hosting these classes for the course. She's done an amazing job, and this team is amazing. And I only see great things coming from SEMLink and its initiatives. But most importantly, and students, this is where I want to have a conversation with you. I want to thank you all for participating in this program, and I want to thank the parents who have supported your participation. You all have provided such insight, some thought-provoking questions, and your diligence to stay committed to this process is truly motivating, and it's what educators like myself like to see in young scholars, particularly since journal articles, generally speaking, aren't the most exciting thing for most people. In fact, even as a scientist, I don't like reading journal articles a lot. It's a necessary evil and it's something that you have to do, but sometimes it can be a little cumbersome. So I appreciate your diligence in staying committed to this process. And that's going to lead me to the core purpose of my talk tonight. We are at a point where it is going to be critical that we identify, describe, and instill the importance of STEM literacy in the age of anti-intellectualism. Let me say that again. Tonight, I'm going to talk to you about the importance of STEM literacy in the age of anti-intellectualism. Now, since the beginning of time, man has been conducting science at its most basic level. The scientific method starts out with an observation. You see something and it catches your eye. It brings you some curiosity. You make a hypothesis about what it might be. You test that hypothesis. You take note or record the results. You make a conclusion. And then you do it again and again and again until you finally understand what it is that you have seen and you finally can explain what has happened. Now, back in the early days, those results could be life or death. Imagine back when we were hunter-gatherers, you're outside and you see a red berry in the forest and you're hungry. And so you pick that berry and you taste it and you die, right? Well, the conclusion is that berry is probably not good for you. It's probably toxic. While the results may not be beneficial for you because you've checked out, you've gone to the upper room, those who saw you eat that berry learned from your experiment. In other words, the work that was done didn't benefit you maybe, but understanding the work that was done benefits the whole. And now, of course, there's always going to be a couple of folks who have to try it again and eat the berry too to see if it happens again, and they're going to die too, probably, right? But eventually, the entire population becomes more informed due to the results of said experiment. Nowadays, science is still a collective effort. We're all still working towards the betterment of mankind. And the conducting of science should be in hopes that we're going to ensure the greater outcomes for the greater whole of mankind, right? So researchers from around the world are working on some of life's most important discoveries. They're really challenging right now some of our key understandings of life and science and cognizance and consciousness and metaphysics and quantum theory and all of these things that are going to help move us forward into the future. Science in and of itself is good. Let me say that again. Science in and of itself is good. And we have seen that good and the good that science has done for us by virtue of the fact that we are still here. You can look around your room right now and see advancements in science that 5 years ago, 10 years ago, even 30 years ago, when I was your age, did not exist. The fact that we are still here and moving forward means that science is actually helping us, and it is in and of itself a good thing. So you have to ask yourself, why are we as humans moving away from the value of something that has sustained us since the dawn of time? Well, part of it is the internet. The internet has created this sense of pseudo intellectualism, and the prefix pseudo means false. So, false intellectualism. But this false intellectualism is threatening our ability to understand and utilize the findings and results that come from scientific inquiry. Social media, unfortunately, has made it so that everybody is an expert, right? You see videos all the time where people are explaining things that they have no clue what they're talking about. But because they have a platform and a voice, and everyone can have one, everyone's an expert. But very few people actually go through the steps necessary to perform, understand, and disseminate accurate findings for the betterment of mankind, like scientists do. That is strenuous work, and that work that is done to preserve the integrity of the research process is being skipped in favor of quick sound bites, small videos that are likely not founded in truth or any acceptable scientific finding. In other words, rather than do the work of research, they're recording quick videos just to get their likes up. And this pseudo intellectualism, unfortunately, is also a group effort. And just as science has allowed the whole to benefit greatly from scientific discovery, this anti intellectual movement continues to impede and hold up the progress that we should be making as mankind. Now, this is where you come in, scholars, and this is where I really want you to understand why we took you through this entire process. You're at a critical point in your academic careers where you can, one, follow the crowd and join the anti-intellectual, false intellectual social media movement forward, or two, you can be a foundational voice for your generation for the integrity and rigor of science for years to come. Now, let's face it. I'm 44 years old, okay? Based on projections, I have about 30 summers on this earth before I take my rest. However, you all are at an age where you haven't even begun to experience all that life has for you. And that's an amazing place to be. If you should go into a STEM field as a career, you will be investigating the medical, biological, chemical, technological advances that will support us as humans for the foreseeable future. Every generation before you, including me, including your parents, including your grandparents, and so forth, and every generation after you, your children, your children's children, and the like. All of us will benefit from the hard work and efforts that you make to advance the sciences, especially at a time where there's such a push against science. So it's of vital importance for everyone that your generation, it's of vital importance for everyone, that your generation learns to approach science with the purest of intent and the most dedicated work ethic possible. In other words, we need you, and we need you to do it right. And the way that we can ensure that you do it right is to first start with understanding how science is conducted at all. That is the reason why this program is so important. Yes, we get a chance to work with you and talk to you on Thursdays twice a month. Yes, you get to meet other students. Yes, we get to have fun talking about these wonderful discoveries. But it is important that you understand how science is conducted the right way. That is the core reason that this program is so important for all of us, not just you, but for everybody that you will impact. Over the course of the last year, you've learned about topics that range from biochemistry to physics, quantum entanglement, which until last year I didn't even understand, to forensic science. You have heard from experts who live and work in these spaces, and they've shared with you their wisdom and their knowledge in hopes that one day you will be in a space to engage STEM careers. But most of all, through this journal club, you have received the key to understanding scientific discoveries. You've learned how to digest complex information. That complex information that you are able to digest now, you're able to break that down so that it's more understandable to you and more relatable to your life. It's no longer just something that's very abstract, but you now understand how it impacts you on a day to day basis. But further, you have also learned about the importance of using your voice to disseminate accurate and critical information to the masses. And you got a chance to do that in a very unique way by creating your own podcast. Now, understand that while this may have seemed like a simple program for high school students, it was really an early training ground for scholars who are on the cusp of greatness. And like Miss Mia said, you guys have been phenomenal. The intelligence, wit, aptitude, curiosity that you've exhibited lets us know that if you all go into the sciences, we're definitely going to be in a better place. Not 20 years from now, 30 years from now, but 5 years from now. You all are just that awesome. That is what you've been doing over the past school year, preparing to step into that awesomeness. And I take pride and we take pride in the fact that our scholars, if you choose to pursue a STEM career, will be those impactful members of the scientific community. And you'll understand how to move us forward in the age of this pseudo intellectualism. Now, as I close, I simply want to say this to you, students, and if nothing else, take this from me tonight. I need you to stay curious. I need you to stay motivated. And I need you to stay passionate as you work towards these futures. We need you. Perhaps now more than ever, we need you as we face the challenges of those who would like to speak against science, even though we know that science in and of itself is for the greater good. And it is you that we're counting on to ensure that we can continue to move forward in the face of those who seek to slow down our growth. So, scholars, with that being said, I just want to thank you for your participation and your enthusiasm over the last year. But most of all, I want to thank you in advance for the impact you will make on my life, your parents' lives, your children's lives, and all of mankind. Now, I need you to go and be great. Have a good evening.
So, Dr. Williams, great job.
Thank you so much, Dr. Williams. I am always amazed by how great you are when motivating students. Like, I'm not even going back to school, and I'm just like, oh, maybe I should. Maybe I should do some more science videos. But you are so right. Like, there's so much shortcut in learning, and we have these amazing tools, like you said, AI, but they're not used in a way that still promotes, like, it does not substitute the work, the rigor, all of those things that make science and sharing our knowledge great. And so
Absolutely. And to that point, AI is not going anywhere, right? we know that it's getting integrated into almost every aspect and every endeavor. Even non-science areas, AI is being utilized. So it's important for us to also have our students understand ethical use of AI, which is part of the reason why I showed them how to use Notebook LM to work through things, but not to do the work for them. But also, it's important for them to understand how AI works and how these skills can be utilized, because eventually that's going to be a skill set that's not going to be desirable. It's going to be mandatory. So I agree with you.
I'm going to try this again. Can you all see that?
And start. You can start.
Can you hear it?
Yes, we can hear it a little bit.
Okay, let me turn my volume up. I laugh because like I'm Gen Z and I'm not as great as some of my other Gen Z people. So
And
is that better?
You can start, Hillary, if you want to.
Yes, yes.
Hillary, I'm a freshman at Global Impact Academy. One thing I loved about this program was learning about the perspectives of other people and finding out all the interesting experiences of my teammates.
Hey everyone, my name is Cody and I'm a freshman at Douglas County High School. And what I thought was really interesting about this when we went into a bunch of different subjects. It wasn't just hyper focused on one genre. We went into like quantum physics to like through like medical science. Like there was just a broad range of everything we covered.
My name is Jordan and I go to Martha Ellen Stowe School of the Arts. And one thing I like about this program is that, like he said, we're able to expand our knowledge on different like career paths and also know like what the requirements are and what the studies are. And it makes it easier to understand.
My name is Bryce Simmons. I was born March 7th, 2009, and I'm in 10th grade. My name is Juan. I'm a 9th grader at Leeds Smith High School, and one thing I love about this program is the bunch of articles that are cute.
Okay. And thank you, Miss Mia, for getting that video. We have a few more that Dr. Wilson sent, like behind the scenes, the podcast episode recording, and a snippet of, I think, one of the podcast episodes. Double check and see.
What is the STEM career or field that you are interested in? What do you think it will take to make it?
Okay, well, there's a lot of careers and things I'm interested in. One of them is like being a biostatistician. So looking at data, figuring out what sort of trends there are in there and how they relate to like public health and things like that. And also like a variety of things that I want to be in. Well, okay. So a lot of them say I have to be a good communicator, and that is like one of my worst fears because I can be a little bit awkward in like social situations. I can well, yeah, yeah, like this essentially. And I also have a quiet voice. And that really takes away from it. And so the second that I hear that pops up, I'm like, how am I supposed to be successful in those fields? That's not me.
And we have a few more videos and things to share. One of the things I am so excited about this whole When They Learn communication is Dr. Williams can probably attest to it. A lot of us were not comfortable in high school, in your, is your opportunity to learn, to grow.
So I'm interested in the software engineer career. And one of the skills that you have to have is communication. That's something hard to me. And I don't know how I'm supposed to succeed in that career if that skill that I have to have are very hard for me to accomplish.
Yeah, I can definitely relate. Also because communication is one of the sort of vague skills. There's no like clear formula how to be good at that.
Video.
Was this everybody's first time reading a journal article?
I've definitely read journal articles before. It was just like the process very long. So, anyone else? I've probably read journal articles before, but I haven't seen them online. But all the things that were on the list.
I think there's,
Excuse me. Hi, we're only seeing the email, not the video. Is it supposed to look like that?
I don't think so. I can go back to it. Okay. Can you see the thing now, media now?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Okay, I'll replay it. Thank you.
Was this everybody's first time reading a journal article?
I've definitely read journal articles before. It was just like the process very long. So, anyone else? I've probably read journal articles before, but I haven't seen them online. But all the things that were on the list.
And then there's one more snippet that Dr. Watley shared with us.
Welcome to SEM Link podcast. This episode is about imposter syndrome, and we're
No
going to
video.
discuss imposter phenomenon.
It's
and
not a
remote
video, it's just audio. Can you hear the audio?
Yes, thank you.
Okay.
innovation, women in higher education. This is an academic journal article written by Ashley R. Vaughn, Gita Tassoub Shirazi, and Marcus L. Johnson.
My name is Juan. I'm a ninth grader at Leeds Springs High School.
My name is Jordan Fair, and I attend Stewart School of the Arts in Queen County, and I'm a 10th grader.
My name is Cody and I'm a ninth grader at Douglas County High School.
My name is Hillary, and I'm a freshman at Global Impact Academy.
My name is Vice and I go to Campbell High School.
Was this everybody's first time reading a scientific journal article?
No, it wasn't my first time. I've done it like I think once.
This is my first time reading a journal article. However, I have seen journal articles in the past, but all the weird words and all the technical vocabulary really made me just stop.
So this wasn't my first time too. This is my first time reading a journal article.
Okay, so those are all the previews that we got from Dr. Watley. Like I said, in the next few weeks, we will have the podcast episodes on the STEM Explained channel, and I will email it to the students and it'll go on our channel. And so what I wanted to do, and I don't know if Miss Mia has selected students or if the students want to select themselves, self-select, but we really want to give this opportunity to hear from you. We as adults have talked a lot about this program, have talked to you a lot, and we would like to really hear from you. You've been communicating with Miss Mia for the past few months, so I hope that you all are comfortable enough to say a few words about, what is your favorite journal article that you read, what you want to do with STEM, your favorite STEM discipline, something so we can kind of get to know a little bit about you and how this program fit in your overall journey to become a STEM professional. Okay, go ahead, Cody. And Cody, can you come on camera if you're able to so we can see you?
I'd have to fix a bunch of settings.
Okay, all right, just go ahead and speak. We're listening, Cody, go ahead.
I'm sorry, it kicked me out. So with the STEM Journal Club, I'd first like to say thank you to Miss Mia for being the person who's been there, and if you had any questions about the Journal Club article, she tried to her best of her ability to answer the questions, and it's been helpful over the past months we've been doing this program. My favorite article was the imposter syndrome article, because I feel like it's a problem that most people, you might not realize you have, but then once you realize you have it, it explains a lot about what some of your actions might do. And I think it's just really interesting the way that works out. And then with the program itself, I think it's been a great program because we've been able to meet a bunch of people we wouldn't have the chance to meet outside of this program. And it's allowed like networking and being able to find people who, if you need to get advice from in a specific area, you might be able to contact them about it. But overall, I think it's been a great program, and I hope that people next year have as great of an experience.
Thank you, Cody. Now, do you want to be a STEM professional?
I would like to pursue a career in the STEM field. And
What
like,
are you thinking about?
Like astrophysics or aerospace engineering.
Oh, you smart. Like astrophysics too. All right. Well, is there anything we can do to help you? Dr. Williams' colleague can find an astrophysicist between the two of us to help you. Thank you, Cody, for sharing. Any other students want to share? Okay, go ahead, Jordan.
My camera is not working. Oh,
Okay, that's
never mind.
fine. Go ahead. Oh, okay.
It's on now. So hello. Hello, my name is Jordan, and one thing I would like to say about the club was that it really helped me navigate through like different career paths in the STEM program. Um, like one of my interests is like psychology and neuroscience, so it really helped me understand those different areas. My favorite article will also be the imposter syndrome one because, like Cody said, it's a kind of like thought process that people have or that people are going through. So yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Jordan. Do any other students want to speak? Okay, go ahead, Hillary.
Can you see me?
Yes.
Okay. So, one thing I would like to say about the program is that it really helped me get comfortable with journal articles and learn more about reading them because, as I said in the podcast before, I was always walking away from journal articles due to the technical vocabulary, and it was like a little bit too difficult. And now I am much more confident in accessing the scientific community than I was before. My favorite article would definitely be the imposter phenomenon one, since it really resonated with me, and I felt like I could, like, there were actually people out there who had done research on things I was feeling. Another article I really liked was the forensic science one on fingerprints, which was first because I thought it was a very interesting article, but secondly because I learned about misinformation in scientific articles and how some things can be misinterpreted and how you should look out for that.
Right. And Hillary, what do you want to study? Like, do you want to be a STEM professional?
I mentioned this again inside the podcast that I was interested in becoming a biostatistician. I'm interested in like public health or healthcare in general because I like the idea of like working to improve others' lives.
Great. Okay. Thank you, Hillary. Okay.
Chikiwa.
Hmm.
Can we? I don't think we asked Jordan, but I'd like to hear hers as well. Jordan, if you could tell us really quickly, what is? Are you interested in STEM careers, and if so, what would you like to go into?
Um, I'm interested in like neuroscience for like my main path and then like psychology as a minor.
Oh, awesome. Thank you.
Do any other students want to speak? If not, I'm going to do something new and see if a parent wants to speak. We do not get enough parent feedback sometimes. I think for me, sometimes they're like, we want to create these experiences for kids, but we know that these are teenagers and children and they cannot participate without you. And we appreciate you so much for allowing your children to do this. And we want to hear your voice if you want to speak.
Yes, I would like to speak. I'm Jonette, I'm Jordan's mom. Um, and I would first like to say thank you to my fellow tornado compadre, Mr. Williams, for putting together such a dynamic program for the students. I had the opportunity to kind of sit in on the podcast, and first of all, just to have them in a professional studio um, to go through the reps in real time of how to speak and how to record and have that dialogue being recorded in a professional setting. I think it was a fantastic opportunity for everyone that participated in it. And I think it's just giving them um, more of a rich foundation to um, further their career paths, whether it's in STEM or not, even though I believe everybody is um, headed in that path, whether it's in STEM or not, just being able to um, get comfortable with journal articles because I know it can be intimidating if you have not had the exposure to it or if you have not gotten comfortable with it yourself and you're in your first college course and you're having to, compare these journal articles and come up with whatever the lesson is. I think it's just great exposure for them And I'm grateful for the opportunity for Jordan to participate. I think it has had a profound impact on her, kind of because she was primarily interested in psychology, but with just some of the conversations that were had, I think she kind of pivoted a little bit more to neuroscience just in this year. So just having those stimulating conversations on Thursdays, I think were very impactful. So I'm grateful for the opportunity for her to participate and grateful for the curriculum and just the whole program in itself. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Janetta. Any other parents on want to speak? And I don't know if there are any guest lecturers on the call. I don't know them. But if a guest lecturer is on, I'll give you a few minutes to talk or share your experience. Okay. All right. If not, I just really want to say once again, thank you to Dr. Williams, Jamia, Dr. Watley for all that you did to invest in this program. I sometimes have to remember that, like, this is the idea and the vision that I had. But I'm a chemical engineer. I hadn't read a journal article since college. And so I am so thankful to Dr. Williams for saying yes, and being able to just trust in him, knowing that he was going to develop a really great curriculum for the students that I didn't have to worry about. So I really, really appreciate you, Dr. Williams. Jamie, I really appreciate you taking time every Thursday. I understand, like, you're not in school, well, you're in school, but you're in professional school, but you don't have to read these journal articles, and you're reading them along with the kids, learning with them, being able to answer their questions, but also being transparent and vulnerable enough to know some of these subjects you're learning with them. Because when I said y'all did quantum physics, yeah, like all of those things. And I think it's really, really important for teenagers to see that example that learning is constant, no matter what your quote unquote expertise is. And you can always learn something new, and that it's okay to not feel like you have quote unquote arrived and learned everything. When you can just read a journal, learn more, even if you don't fully understand it, just getting that knowledge and being open to that knowledge. So I thank you, Jermia, for doing that. And although she's not on this call, Dr. Watley, she has a STEM podcast. And I wanted to get her last year, but she wasn't available. So I was so excited that she was available this year. And I know that the kids learned so much from her. And I hope that you all, I think she may have shared her podcast episodes with you, dope podcast. But I just want to close in saying thank you so much to the students for dedicating the time. Thank you for everyone who took time to celebrate with us. But also, I want to encourage the students and parents. If there's another child in your network that is interested when we start opening up the applications, encourage them to apply, because we want as many kids to have the opportunity to participate in this. We know that it is one of those kids, those programs that it is not going to be a lot of kids, because we know, I don't think I read a journal article in high school. Did you, Dr. Williams? One. I read none. Okay. My first exposure to journal articles was in undergraduate research, when my professor was like, if you want to touch my fancy equipment, you better read these articles. And I didn't get any guidance. And so I know that, and to Dr. Williams' point, in the age of pseudo intellectualism and social media when people want to do quick, fast. It is really important that on this stage in their STEM journey to become a STEM professional, or even if they choose another path, the ability to learn from scholarly articles, to be able to read, analyze, and discuss is something that is going to carry with them throughout their career, no matter what their career path. Although we want to become a STEM professional, the most important thing is that we are teaching our youth skills that will lead to their success. So thank you, everyone. Students, you'll see the journal clubs in a few weeks. I have to get with Dr. Watley. And then parents and families, I'm going to send you information about a gathering that we're going to have soon just to celebrate the students themselves in person. So I want to thank you, everyone. Thank you again for your support of these students, especially those who are not families or parents of students. We have supportive at SEM Link. We have some volunteers. We have some donors. And before I forget, I do want to thank the people who made this possible, our two funders, Simon's Foundation, the Science Sandbox Grant, and the Jack and Jill of America Atlanta Chapter Foundation. These are the organizations that provided support for this program. So thank you, everyone. Look forward to our podcast episodes in a few weeks. And when you see us post about it, encourage youth, high school students to apply for next year's cohort. Have a good evening, everyone.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Okay.